January 27th, entry 16, quote unquote, first time, or something. I should entitle this entry First Time, or something. I don't know. All I feel like mentioning now is that we fucked. Well, not completely. Just after we woke up, by the way, this is the night that I got back to his house around 2:30 a.m. after returning from the club. We woke up around 11 a.m. He turned over and smacked me lightly. I moved his hand down. He smacked me lightly again. I grabbed his hand and moved it down again and gave him the evil eye. He did it again. I moved it down again and this time let my hand linger, holding his hand beneath the blankets and keeping it there so he couldn't smack me again. His hand moved over to my dick and started playing with it. I forgot exactly how we got into it, but I remember he told me to turn around and I just looked at him blankly. He encouraged me, so I did, and during the process of the next half hour, he tried, bracket failed, end bracket, sticking his erect dick in my ass. Bracket. I apologize if that's too vivid for our more fair-hearted readers. End bracket. After a bunch of painful, failed first attempts, I turned him over and got it in him much easier, with a little help from him. He half laughed, half whined about how it hurt, so I took it out and promised to help him do it to me. He made me take out the lube and, well, long story short, we each stuck it in each other that morning, though I think it hurt me more than it hurt him. After, he wanted me to jerk his dick for a little while, hard and fast, but he kept stopping so he wouldn't bust. I was impressed with, appreciated his knowledge and control of his own body. I moved his hand to mine and put it in my boxers, telling him to jerk it, but that he didn't have to make me come. After a little bit, he whipped off the covers and pulled back his foreskin, saying, "Suck it, I think." I looked up at him, then our eyes met, and I searched them for any hint of sarcasm, any trace of joking, any tone that indicated he didn't mean what he had just said. "Can I?" I asked. With his foreskin all the way back, I sucked on the tip for a few seconds, then let him go to the bathroom and take a shower. Later that day, he told me his ass hurt after he took a shit, and that he wasn't doing that again, whether he was at my house or not. I got the idea to see if I could fit my foreskin inside his foreskin, like the French porn video I saw. He said he'd think about it. Bracket. Look up docking on Google. End bracket. For those who don't have Google, Urban Dictionary has a description that goes sort of like this. Docking is a verb describing the act of stretching one man's foreskin over another man's penis. It can only be practiced between men if one of them is uncircumcised. This foreplay, quote unquote, is best mixed with a little lube or pre-cum prior to beginning the fun. An example follows. Mitch says, "Hey dude, I've been on such a big dry spell with the ladies. Can I put my cock in your cock's foreskin?" Al says, "Docking's the best. No need to ask." Bracket. End bracket. After he called and asked Juju to come over since we were bored and everyone else was sleeping, and while Juju was on his way to our location, I asked Z to show me his foreskin, because I wanted to see the tip. I looked at it for a few seconds and he started to get hard. He told me to suck it. I said, "Fine, but suck mine first, bitch," and whipped it out. He reached out and grabbed it and his finger came away, sticky, with pre-cum. "Ew," he said, "I'm not sucking that." Apparently he wouldn't do it because the pre-cum grossed him out, but he considered it a mark in progress. He told me he'd suck my balls though, and he moved to suck one and pulled it away roughly with his mouth. He told me I owed it to him and then told me that he didn't trust me. Bracket, as in he didn't trust that I would repay my part of the bargain. End bracket. I asked him if he was really going to say that to me while my mouth was between his legs. Anyways, I sucked on both balls and considered his dick just because I wanted to taste it again. He said, "We gotta stop doing this because it's gay, and that he should be doing this with girls." I told him that it was only gay if people found out. Bracket, because back then I thought that others would be the ones to label and judge the activity, and that such a label and judgment would likely be both negative and inaccurate. Not that the two are synonyms necessarily, but they do often go hand in hand. End bracket. Bracket. Regardless, I don't feel that fooling around with another male makes a straight guy gay. It merely makes them open-minded and or experimental at best, and or really horny, or making the best of what's available at worst. I appreciate this aspect of sexuality, and it is mostly only those who are closed-minded or of low intelligence that label those who are open-minded enough to perform these acts as gay, trying new experiences. Additionally, it is likely that these people, these homophobics and others who react strongly and negatively to the idea of same-sex sex, only react thusly because of their own suppressed desires to try homosexual experiences. In support of this, there was a scientific study done that hooked up homophobic men's penises and non-homophobic men's penises to measuring meters while showing them various types of pornography. The study showed that the penises of homophobic men got more aroused, that is to say, got harder and became more erect, than the penises of non-homophobic men while watching gay porn. This was observed on a subtle level with sensitive measuring equipment, so the increase in penile size would have been very subtle and difficult to discern with the naked eye. From this, one might conclude that homophobics react so strongly to homosexuals or homo-related content because they are fighting so strongly to suppress their own interest and curiosities in homosexuality, and every homo-related thing they see is a constant reminder that they have and are actively, if subconsciously, suppressing such feelings. I must also note that correlation does not imply causation. Also, I should suggest that sexual experimentation is a natural, normal process for most people of all ethnicities, ages, socioeconomic statuses, sexualities, and walks of life. That straight guys and gay guys will mingle and experiment with each other sexually is a given. It is a fact of life and nothing to be ashamed of. Please bear in mind that straight and gay are just preferences. They are not absolutes. End bracket. He still has to wait a year for his girl, because she said that if they were together for a year, then afterwards they could have sex. And that as long as he was willing to do it to me, then I had no problem doing it to him. Then Juju came.